Hello everyone, I'm CoolGuy, welcome back. Today I want to talk about the Trials of Osiris. I haven't made a video on it yet, there's a reason I needed more info and I have that now. The game mode does need some serious help, and with anything, you need to understand that someone's perception is their reality. I want to get into what my reality is with Trials, some good, some bad, some things I notice from afar. There's a lot of broad missteps with Trials. I want to talk about fixing those and give you guys my feedback. I don't have all the answers, or any answers really, just suggestions. I think most of you would agree that Trials is off. It just feels off. That could be for various reasons, could be cheaters, could be rewards, the overall structure. There's no real wrong reason why you would think that it's off. In the background, I just have some Trials footage. Keep in mind, I'm on console. That's a very important thing to know. I'm going to get into my Trials experience for PC as well later on, and also what I think of it on console. For all of this, it's reasonable to start at the most recent This Week at Bungie. I'm sure you've seen on Reddit, on Twitter, on YouTube, various opinions of the game mode. And I'm going to echo some of those clear problems that everyone sees, but I want to elaborate on them and talk about a couple more things. What works, what doesn't work, why it doesn't work, and so on. And ultimately, I want to talk about building it taller, not wider. We talk about this in the Destiny community. Again, some of it's been talked about, but this is just my first video and probably only video so far with Trials. I want to walk through it all. There's a theme as to what I want to talk about, what I want to get across. I mean, whatever comes of this video, it's to keep it fair, all of it. And I'm going to say that phrase over and over. I'm going to elaborate on it when I say it. You need to keep the game mode fair, and that has multiple layers. They say that their goal is to encourage players to chase 7-win tickets. The entire game mode, when you look at it from afar, is incentive, competition, and a little bit of prestige. The whole goal is to go to the lighthouse. That should be on the players' minds. That's the end goal. And when you look at these cards, we have the Mercy, which is widely used, Ferocity, that gives you a double win on your third win, Wealth for more tokens, Wisdom for more experience, Confidence for more rewards. So this kind of tells me from the start, going into this, they want the player to have various routes to go, various avenues, objectives catered to what the player wants or needs. That's a good start in theory. Regardless though, you can't lose sight of the main objective, to go flawless. That's why you're in there, it's to go to the lighthouse. That doesn't mean though, along the way, you can't be rewarded for your time, because you should be rewarded for your time. That current structure we have of 3, 5, 7 wins, each milestone rewards a gear piece. You're earning tokens for winning, you're earning tokens for losing. The entire system is revolving around tokens. You have milestones of wins and tokens, and you can't turn in said tokens without hitting the first milestone. I've seen people with 250 tokens unable to turn them in because they didn't hit that first 3-win milestone. Imagine here, having 200 or so tokens. I mean, I'm pretty sure they won some matches, but worst case scenario, say they lost all 250. That's 35 whole cards worth trying to get 3 wins, and at the end, they have literally nothing to show for it. I want you to save your comments about, oh, people need to get good. Save all that, because it needs to be fair. It isn't fair to spend all that time in there and have literally nothing to show for it. That's not really debatable. I'm always open to debate. I welcome it, but I am very firm on this. It's like that old saying, fair wages for fair work. They may not get to the lighthouse, they may not get the best piece of gear, but that doesn't mean they should get nothing at all. This is a trickle-up effect. I'm going to get into flawless loot later, but at the start, you have to respect a player's time. You have to, and you need to be fair about it. A lot of people are leaving Trials weekends with nothing but disappointment. Some feel like they're punching bags, some feel hopeless about it. We all play the same game here. Competition's good and fun, but investing time needs to translate somehow, some way. It goes back to someone's perception is their reality, because if that was you, or if that is you, it's lame, it sucks. You probably wouldn't come back to Trials either. Like all you're trying to get is, let's say, the AR or the shotgun, and you can't get there. A lot of people aren't coming back because of this. There are a number of reasons why Trials is missing the mark, but this is up there as one of the top reasons. This makes the player base go down. They've already seen this feedback though, and they say a solution could be to create a weekly bounty that encourages participation each weekend and does not require match wins. When redeemed, the bounty will reward the same item that comes from the 3-win passage, unlocking the Ingrams so that way you can turn in your tokens. I'm okay with this. And I'm also okay with the bounty being repeatedly done over and over at an upgraded cost. That's gonna hurt literally no one. Everyone wins in that scenario. It's like buying cores from the spider. Say, the third weapon is gonna be the shotgun. Say that's the weapon of the week. That's what we're gonna call that bounty, the weapon of the week or the gear piece of the week. You get the first one done, it's free, you complete it, you get the shotgun. Why not have it to be able to purchase that bounty again, but for 40 tokens? You can complete it, doing the same set of tasks or maybe new ones. You turn it in, well, the next one's going to cost you 60 tokens, the next one's 90, and so on. It's a surefire, direct way, direct path to a weapon. And if you're going to make it a token system, this would be earning towards a particular reward. And again, we can call that the gear piece of the week. Could be arms, could be a chest piece, could be the sniper rifle. And of course, none of this is like written in stone. It's all up for debate, but just the idea. Or maybe something like the ballistic log from the forges. You can complete the bounty, and you can get another one to unlock after you complete 10 other trials bounties, and so on. The incentive is the key here. It's kind of like grinding a Mago loop or grinding Grasp of Malak back in D1. You have a direct path, you know what to do. Only in those cases, it was RNG. This is more of a almost menagerie, almost forge type bounty. Everyone can do it. This current system brings me to the wealth cards. First off, I do not like the wealth card. The wealth card brings out the worst in the game mode, and I'm going to elaborate on that. Forget what we know, because if Trials shipped right now without the wealth card, no one would bat an eye because no one would know any different. We would be fine without it, but now, we know that the wealth card's in the game, it's widely used, players would get very upset if it goes. The power of the wealth card is unmatched currently, in my opinion, because when you start having tiers of players, you have ones that can't get past 3 wins right now, others that do, and then there are others that go to the lighthouse. In a game mode that isn't rewarding flawless players, the only true loot avenue to get a random roll on a weapon that you want is through tokens. It's also card-based matchmaking. So really think about it. And this goes for the wealth card now and in the future. The only way to get more tries at a random roll that you want is to turn in tokens for a chance at them. It's literally a no-brainer. You pick the card that gives you more tokens. It wins. When you play with your clanmates, I believe it gives you 7 tokens per win. You reset your card, play 2 or 3 games, you farm the tokens, and so on. While you're doing that, you're gatekeeping players to those 3 wins in the first place, leaving them, again, with literally nothing to show. So it's a rich get richer type of deal. And let's remember, the goal of Trials of Osiris is to get to the lighthouse. It isn't bottom feeding cards going for tokens. It isn't. It never should be. The current goal for Trials of Osiris is to get to the lighthouse once, then get tokens to get the weapon you want from a loot pool. They talk about in Season 11, they're planning on creating token payout milestones for 3, 5, and 7. They give you larger chunks as you go on down the card, and bonus token passage, talking about the wealth card right here, should increase these payouts. And on a flawless run, it will generate a significant token payout. Again, the whole goal of the game mode, in my personal opinion, is you should be getting rewards along the way to achieving that goal of flawless. It needs to be loot based, not token based, because all that's doing is a rich get richer type of deal. While yes, token increases should make players stay on a card, but it's also no sweat that if they don't reach their goal, they can just start over. They're earning more tokens to get more loot, period. You go flawless, you get tokens to turn in tokens to get an Ingram. That's the only surefire way to get an item, and that's gonna win every single time. It's unmatched. So you talk about the 357 and tokens go up as you go down the card. Why don't we just do that for every card? Why does the wealth card need to be there? Why do you need a passage to do that? And why does said passage only unlock after you get 5 wins or 7 wins? It should be loot first, tokens on top, tokens not being the main focal point of getting chances at gear. End rant. Again, that's just me. Of course, that's up for debate. And if they want to keep this current system of tokens being the surefire way to get loot, at least make it more appealing and not a rich get richer type of deal. Like, we're all putting in the same time here. Gear in general and loot is why players are there. They say they've seen that Trials in some players' minds feels unrewarding compared to other in-game activities, and a solution is to inject more chances to earn masterworking materials from Trials. Masterworking and fusion materials will come from 3, 5, and 7 win payouts in Season 11. They're also looking at the possibility by adding new material-focused farming card, a new passage in Season 12. Okay, so now this is turning into, instead of a 357 gear piece, we have a 357 giving bulk tokens as you go on that gets better on 3, 5, and 7, and you're getting a masterwork and fusion material on 3, 5, and 7. That would be okay with me without the wealth card on top of that. So that's a good start. I do get the feeling that as a whole, they do agree that it should be more rewarding overall for all players regardless of skill level. When you go flawless though, that should be the real prize. That's the true reason, or at least that should be the true reason someone stays on a card. It's going to be the rewards that wait at the end. That's going to start getting into flawless. They say that as far as Adept Weapons, that's something the community has widely wanted. Right now, they're currently looking into giving these weapons the ability to replace the weapon mod slot with an Adept Weapon mod. And that's going to make the weapon be able to accept custom built mods. And that's in addition to the normal list of weapon mods. And all of that is subject to change as they continue to develop, but they wanted to give us an early look. This is something that I can get on board with, getting a Trials weapon that has a custom mod slot, say giving a neutral game perk like Snapshot or an old perk like Battle Runner and so on. Maybe you can add 10 to 15 range or stability on a hand cannon or a pulse. Regardless, something special like an Adept weapon needs to come out of the Flawless chest. But there also needs to be more. I don't want to stop there. Currently, there are a couple of outliers. Cool things like the Trials Sparrow and Ghost, or random chance at them. I have 2 friends that want the Sparrow badly and have been going Flawless, or at least trying to, specifically for the Sparrow. Like, that's incentive to go. They want to open up that chest, they want to see that Sparrow come out. So for the Flawless chest specifically, why not do something, and we're going to start listing things, that the dungeon does. Grant a fully masterwork piece of gear. And that's going to be for your first Trials run of the week. Maybe only 1 per account, maybe 1 per character. It could be the helmet, it could even be a weapon. And we all know that the fully masterwork piece from the dungeon, sometimes it's a good piece of gear, other times not so much. So even if you don't want it, it's going to dismantle into a lot of materials, so that could be on top. And for this Flawless chest, why not have an ornament for each piece of gear for the season? Not in Eververse, no other way of getting it. Only way is to get it as a random drop for going Flawless. So that would be 5 items per character. Maybe you would open up that chest and you would get the helmet ornament. And not only would it be glowing red for going Flawless, it would also be Trials themed, look different than anything else. So kind of like Destiny 1, we had the regular weapons that were kind of an Adept brown color. The Flawless was black, or maybe it was reversed. It's just that little extra something aesthetically. Because in Destiny 2, say that you went Flawless, you got one of these pieces for your helmet or class item. That's a new gear set to show. You'd be walking around the tower, it's like, okay, I've got my Warlock headpiece, but man, that guy's got the Flawless emblem. He's got the Flawless Osiris helmet. Like, that's just another layer. So out of the gate so far, we have a masterworked piece, a chance at 5 ornaments for each character. So that's 15 total ornaments across everything. That's building taller. That's stuff in that Flawless chest that you would want. Tokens don't matter in this aspect. The only thing that matters, the goal of the game mode. Getting to the lighthouse. While yes, some players are not going to get these ornaments, but in turn, on the other end, they're going to have way more chances at getting the regular weapons and regular loot from the table. Not to mention, we can just keep going. One of my favorite pieces of gear in this entire season are the ornaments you get from Eververse for Ace, Outbreak, and Colony. I bought the Ace and Outbreak because I enjoy them so much. I don't understand why these particular ornaments aren't tied to Trials, because these are types of things players would want to work for. They even change colors just like the Trials gear, so as a suggestion, why not the following season have 2 weapons or so get this treatment, or maybe even 1, just period. And to go on top of that, make the weapon that gets the treatment a standout from the season beforehand. So for season 11, you would open up that Flawless chest, you have a chance at a Sparrow, a chance at a Ghost, a masterworked armor piece on your first run, 5 different ornaments to go with your Trials gear, maybe even for the weapons themselves, that exponentially ups everything you get from the Flawless chest. And then there's that hard light Trials ornament that could drop, or like Osiris Regime. And I've been called a madman, why not a Revoker ornament? Regardless of lore, this thing was used in the Trials of Osiris, it was feared, it was great. Let's throw a little Trials Eye sticker on this bad boy. Just basically ones that would get that treatment if they went that route, would just be outliers from the previous season, the meta of that season. These are just suggestions, but I do feel like these are some rewards that players would want to try to get. You went Flawless, you spent all weekend, here's something to show what you did. And maybe some of these things you could tie on to a confidence card. You can do things like drop a package of materials, 50 shards, just on top, like something. There's endless possibilities, because as it sits, it really isn't that urgent to go Flawless once you've done it. Because after that, it's all about the token game. Get tokens, turn in tokens, rinse, repeat, hope for the best. Do it again next week. Get on different character, and so on. So in conclusion here for the rewards, they're moving in the right direction, but they need to think about what's fair and they need to keep it fair. You spend time, you do the thing, you get rewarded. When it comes to the Flawless chest, there should be excitement. Maybe some of those things, like the ornaments I talked about, could then be in Eververse a season or 2 down the line, or maybe make a bounty for them on that weekend. As a fire team, defeat 200 Guardians. Get it done, everyone gets it, or you get it if you had the bounty in your hand. I don't have all the answers, but that's just a thought. Ultimately, they need an avenue for players to earn gear and always be working towards something and always be trying to go flawless. That's the goal of the game mode. As you work your way up to 7 wins, you get a tad bit more rewarded. When you hit that chest, you should be excited with what comes out. Maybe from that chest, any gear that comes out has a base at least 63 stat. Nothing below 60, none of these 55s that I've been seeing. You know, make it worth it. Innovation needs to happen, of course, but Destiny 1 was on the right track. I would go off of that and advance from there. The loot system does need work. They just have to figure out how they want to do it. This entire section for me, again, I mean, it almost was a two-parter. This is going to be my stance. In the This Week at Bungie, there were line-for-line ways that they're trying to combat cheaters, plans to address aimbot, wall hacks, various hacks and cheats. All that matters to me is that it gets done, and when bad apples are found, the hammer on them is swift, it's ruthless. Take a stance on a zero-tolerance policy. Because I feel really bad for PC players. I see clips on Twitter, my friends tell me stories, show me clips. I played one card, literally one card on PC. Game 4, someone was 12 for 12 with their sniper rifle. They had a 13 KD. I checked their stats. In every base game mode, control, clash, whatever, they had a 0.9 KD, top 45% of players. But in comp, survival, and trials, you know, the important ones to get rewards, they were literally in the 0.1% of players. Their trials KD was a 3.5. It's unreal. I played those 4 games, I played that one card, and that's the last card I played on PC. It's simple. We've talked about it. It's not fair. I go on PC every now and again to play with friends, but I don't want to have to question if anything happens to me. Did they see me coming? Were they literally looking through walls? Did they have an aimbot? Did they give themselves more special ammo? It's like, it's round 1. They shot 3 straight shots of Revoker, then they reloaded. It's just not worth it to me, and that's why I'm on console. I have the Flawless title. I've been flawless 17 times so far, because again, the truth is, it plays good on console. I mean, it's extremely sweaty, has some reward issues, but the core concept is there. The game mode is sound. It plays good. And console players sound off in the comments section. I feel that voice isn't really being heard because I've talked to a lot of you, and it really is just a night and day difference from PC, and most console players are having a pretty good time. But I want to get into the cheaters. Bungie says they're getting more eyes on reports and developing improvements to anti-cheat. This needs to happen. There's some people at Bungie that just inherited a job within a job. There's a fleet of employees to help clamp down on this cheating. That needs to happen. The cheaters can't take any more of the game away from us. Going to what they said about what they would like to do, again, none of it's set in stone. They're just throwing around ideas to us. There's a lot that I do not agree with. I love Destiny, I always have, but I call things as I see them. With a lot of the suggestions here, it feels like that they're trying to put a band-aid on a hemorrhage. I don't agree with a lot of it. They said that fireteam members playing with a cheater will get banned as well, especially if they ride all the way to flawless. Here's the deal. Cheating shouldn't be a thing in the first place. That isn't the common player's fault. That's the task of Bungie to take care of. It really is. Because this is what I think about in my mind. Punishing someone who is already at a disadvantage by going LFG for someone else's wrongdoing doesn't sit well with me. Because no one goes into trials LFG because they want to, it's because they have to. Essentially, you'd be penalizing a group of people for doing what they're encouraged to do, to go make friends, to go have moments, to go have a good time. And maybe you can make friends so you don't have to LFG the next weekend. But instead, they could possibly be met with a ban because the cheating problem isn't locked up. That's on Bungie, not the player. Like, that's the truth, that's how I feel. And where that gray part comes in is that players could be playing with cheaters, but like legit don't know that they're playing with a cheater. They may not get suspicious. Maybe they just hit a great shot every now and again. But regardless, the root of the problem is the cheater. And they say in the This Week at Bungie that we want you to find new friends out there. Be sure to have their trust before you go though. If you LFG into your fire team with a cheater, you need to get out and report them because again, if you ride them to flawless, the ban hammer will come for you as well. That's an impossible task. You're saying, hey, we didn't catch the cheater. Maybe you should have, because if you didn't, you could get banned too. In what world? Like, I think in real simple terms here, guys. I try to think of all players, because that is a scenario. That literally translates to, if you LFG your way into a fire team with a cheater, you need to leave and report them. It literally says that. You should leave and report them. We didn't detect them, but if we detect them later and you went flawless, that's on you. That's your bad. You should have backed out. You're banned now. You should have noticed random LFG guy. You should have reported them. I don't think that's it, man. Like, that really doesn't sit well with me. Because the cheater is the root cause. Like, that's the problem. And then going on, that contradicts another talking point. Another thing that really rubs me like so wrong is, think about this. And then this week at Bungie, they specifically say that Destiny does not rely on player reports or humans to identify cheaters. In fact, the vast majority of punishments issued come from automated detections. We then use the player reports to help us identify emerging threats. All automated detections are reviewed and verified by a human before punishment to minimize the risk of false positives. If that's true, I just ask again, why would you recommend that a player, quote, report a cheater and back out of that match? Because how exactly is that going to help? All you're doing is placing further burden on the player to consider things outside of the game, thus removing more of the fun. And a lot of players are already playing wondering if they're getting bamboozled. Like, you should be backing out and reporting them, but in the same breath say that player reports aren't really at the top of our list. We use the automated system, but for cheating to be eliminated, I need you to report said cheater and not play this game. Otherwise, you're gonna be losing all of your character development because of a ban. Like, none of it makes sense to me. The player report system 100% should be used. I use it for players with bad connections on PC when it's clear that they're cheating. That does help Bungie, but don't punish me for not doing it. I'm not the problem. So again, top priority above all is Bungie advancing anti-cheat. They say that they're talking with Valve about VAC, like that's good, but as it sits, they're gonna put priority on taking steps for bans to be rapidly ejected near instant. But moving on, Bungie said that they may have made a mistake not having trials behind the season pass paywall, which would have created more friction against free account recycling cheaters. We won't change this for Season of the Worthy, but we'll reevaluate access requirements in future seasons. Here's the deal. Destiny was made free to play, new light with trials included, and let's be real, right? When it's good, it's really good, and trials would definitely bring players in who are down for the Crucible cause, but now we're talking about backtracking because the anti-cheat system is getting bypassed. So to me, rather than addressing the root of the problem, we're now talking about passing the buck on to the community. Like, that's how it looks to me. I don't see it any other way. Because the player base in need of the most protection is the one being most negatively impacted by these non-solutions. At the end of the day, it is Bungie's job to provide a safe and stable environment. It should never be up to the players to correct the behavior, and any efforts to penalize cheaters should not do so at the expense of those already at the largest disadvantage, such as an LFGer. And then to the players that love the game and invest a lot of time, when that segues right into investment of play. They're throwing around the idea and looking for feedback about a 100-hour playtime minimum on an account that's going to be needed to participate in any trials match where a ticket with more than 4 wins is at stake on either side. Again, this has little to do with addressing the actual issue. At the end of the day, this is Bungie's world, we live in it, and it's just overrun with rampant cheating. That's not the community's fault. If someone wants their friend that just got to 980 light from a new light account, they played for like 30, 40 hours. Your answer to curb cheating is to have that player play another 70 hours to be able to play with their friend. The cheaters and hackers are why that person has to play 60 or 70 hours. Like, think about that. That doesn't make sense to me. Most of us are here to have a good time, and these bad apples are taking advantage of a situation we literally have no control over. So let's just imagine for a second. I mean, imagine there is a paywall. Imagine there is a 100-hour minimum time investment to get in trials or something like that, right? Just with your mind's eye, close your eyes, you can see it on Reddit. Oh my God, where's the anti-cheat? Now I'm paying for a season and this guy's using an aimbot or he was cheating. I grinded 14 straight hours to play with my friend this weekend so I can hit the 100-hour minimum and then I still got cheated. Like, really think about that. Like, the fallout would be way worse than it is now. The things talked about from what I see have nothing to do with the root problem. The top priority, above all, the things talked about other than that first section, we talk about the paywall and all like that, who cares? That has nothing to do with the root problem. That's not my fault, that's not the player base's fault. Because in a way, all those things literally hurt everyone but the cheater. It's kind of like approaching this as a battle of attrition. And in the first place, at least in my mind, and again, I have no idea what goes on the back end, but in my mind, you stop it by stopping the cheater. You don't stop it by putting little building blocks in front of them that they have to climb. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Those specific things hurts the player base. It hurts the average player more than it hurts the cheater. And they care, dude. I know they care, but honestly, to me, it looks like the best thing is to advance the anti-cheat. Like, that's the logical answer. I love this game. Like, I love Bungie. I pretty much, I mean, this is my job. I spend my life talking about this game. When I look at that this week at Bungie, the first part to me is what was needed. That section showing, hey, We're targeting hacks like aimbot and so on. The other things have nothing to do with fixing that problem. Just that first section. And since all of this is discussion, they're tossing around these ideas of the paywall and tossing around these ideas of the player minimum and talking about the ideas of kicking fire team members that are playing with a known cheater. I don't think most of those things are necessary at all because they have nothing to do with actually fixing the problem. That first section is fixing the problem though. So until then, until those anti-cheat advancements are made, with them saying that they're gonna have more eyes on reports, this is the best way right now currently. Until they get that advancement, do not pass any hardships onto the common player. It's not our fault. It's delicate. So out of all the things talked about today, the cheaters on PC need to be addressed first. The integrity and longevity of the entire game mode depends on it. You can't have a new reward system when nobody's playing it. So like that needs to get locked down. And a lot of that might have sounded rough, but I love this game. Like I do it out of love, man. I care about the overall health of the game. And if you're here, I know you are too, and I know you care too. I'm sure that they have a fight on their hands with these cheaters that's tough. Like, can't even imagine. I just hope that they can come out victorious very quickly. In conclusion, as a wrap up here, as a console player, to wrap it all up, I personally have been having a good time with Trials. However, various things need some tweaking. The reward structure, the actual rewards, the distribution of them, flawless rewards, and so on with the new system. And all of these rewards need to be fair rewards for time put in and milestones crossed. Thanks for listening to me today, and at the core, the first step was to acknowledge the problems, and those first steps are in place. They're doing that, and now we just wait. I just hope, again, that they can do it ASAP. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you are, thank you so much for your support. Let's talk about it down below in the comment section. I know my video was late, and it's talking about things that people have talked about for the past probably 2-3 weeks. I'm just getting to mine now, and of course, included this week at Bungie. Thank you guys for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.